My son came off your side path bleeding. Something under those leaves sliced through his shoe.
That path is for kids to avoid the road. I never put anything sharp there. His safety crew was kneeling by my fence before sunrise.
We were marking the route, ma'am, not planting traps in your yard.
Sometimes the danger in a yard is not the grass people complain about. It is what someone hides there and expects an old person to take the blame for. Before we get into the story, tell me what you would do if a child came home bleeding from a path the whole neighborhood thought was safe. Hit like, follow for more, and share this with someone who would check the ground before blaming the owner. The father was holding his son's shoe when I reached the corner house, and the sole was split open from heel to toe like it had been dragged across broken glass. His little boy was already in the ambulance with one foot wrapped in gauze, crying behind the open doors while a paramedic tried to calm him down. The old woman stood beside the side path with both hands on her cane, her mouth trembling, repeating that she had never placed anything dangerous where children walked. The father was too scared to hear her at first. He kept saying his son had taken that same path every morning, and today he came out screaming with blood in his sock. The security company owner stood near the fence, telling everyone the yard was overgrown and children should never have been cutting through private property. But that side path had been used for years because the main road had no safe shoulder while construction blocked the normal sidewalk. The neighborhood board had hired his company to protect the temporary walking route with cones, warning tape, and a clear barrier until the sidewalk reopened. The old woman said she saw his crew in the side yard before sunrise, kneeling along the fence with tool bags. He said they were only marking the route. The police officer arrived just as the father raised the torn shoe and shouted that someone needed to find what cut it. The officer told everyone to stop walking and asked me to bring a rake from my truck. I only moved the leaves where he pointed. The first strip came up from under the wet leaves, thin, silver, and lined with sharp metal teeth. Then another appeared, then a third. They were not random junk. They were placed in a neat line along the exact edge where children stepped off the path to avoid a muddy patch. The father went silent when he saw them. The old woman covered her mouth with one hand and nearly dropped her cane. The security company owner immediately said anyone could have dumped those there, but police noticed his gloves had tiny metal filings on the fingertips. Then they checked the tablet case across his chest. Inside were work photos from that morning, but one image had not been deleted. It showed the same side path before sunrise, with the leaves pulled back and one of his workers holding a bundle of the metal strips. Police searched his van and found unopened rolls of bright warning tape, unused safety cones, folded plastic barriers, and the invoice charging the neighborhood board for a full protected route. They also found a message from him to his crew that said, "Do not waste barriers on that old woman's cut-through. Make it uncomfortable and build a full setup." That was the motive. He had been paid to make the walking route safe, but he kept the real equipment in the van, used cheap metal deterrent strips instead, and expected the overgrown yard to take the blame if anyone got hurt. The old woman sat down on her porch step when she heard that. She said she left the path open because she was afraid children would get hit by cars on the main road. She had even tried to sweep the leaves when her knees were strong enough. She never knew someone had turned the same path into a trap. The father walked over after the ambulance pulled away. His face was still hard, but his voice changed when he saw her crying. He said his son kept saying the old lady did not hurt me. It was something hiding under the leaves. That broke her. Police treated the side yard as a crime scene, photographed every strip, and took the security company owner's tablet, gloves, and van. By evening, he was in handcuffs. The neighborhood board had canceled the contract, and officers were checking every temporary route his company had worked on. I only cut the grass after the last piece of metal was removed. The path looked clean when I finished, but nobody let the children use it again until real barriers were installed. Before I left, the old woman looked at the cleared side yard and said, "People kept calling this grass dangerous, but the grass was the only thing soft enough to hold the proof. Do not blame the oldest person in the yard just because they are the easiest target." Like this, if you would have checked under the leaves, share this with someone who protects children, and comment "spikes" if that company owner deserved to be arrested.